Tobias.
And I'm Chanel Contreras.
And we identify as Mexican Americans. What is culture?
What does that mean to you?
Mi nombre es Sergio, vengo de Tabio, Colombia.
Mi nombre es Fernando Piña y yo soy de México.
Hola, soy Carolina Yepes y soy de Ecuador.
Meu nome é Murilo Cunhós Cunha, eu sou brasileiro de São Paulo, capital.
I would say my favorite tradition is the novenas, which are usually 9 days before Christmas. We gather together since December the 16th, eat, party, and also pray at the same time. Just because we are about to get to Jesus' birthday, the Christmas time, so we are praying before those days and getting together as community, different houses. We rotate the houses. Yeah.
For birthdays, when we do celebrate them, usually when we have the cake, it is custom to always smash the face of the birthday person into the cake. We just say like que le muerda or something like that, and everybody just gather around waiting for that person to be distracted, and just when they're going for it, just come in and push them to the cake. Or even if that person knows is coming, somebody might get a piece of cake and just shove it in their face. So that's something that is always expected if you go to one of my family's birthday parties.
It's called quinceañera. When the girl turns 15, they make this big party for the birthday girl, and she wears a cute dress, a pink dress, and high heels, and there's the dancing with her father and grandfather, and it's cute.
Every birthday are really big back home. I see here in America, usually you don't celebrate as big, maybe only your 21st birthday, your 18. Back in Colombia, every single birthday is really important. So we serenade a lot, we hire mariachis. We start pretty early the celebration, it don't matter if it's weekdays. So we are big on those things.
I was at a restaurant, it was someone's birthday, and in Brazil we actually clap when we sing the happy birthday song. So it goes like, parabéns pra você, and everyone claps to get the rhythm. So everyone was like, I think was in a good mood that day too. So someone said like, oh, it's his birthday. I was like, oh, really? And I was like, happy birthday to you. No one's and I just kind of like, okay, just made a fool out of myself. So it's just it's small stuff like that, that it's just, you don't really think about it, It's just, you grew up on it and then you're just like, hey, that's how everyone does it, but it's really not.
Halloween, growing up, it was different. We used to have real pumpkins. We would carve them up, and then we go around to houses and they put quarters instead of candy.
I just went to New York for Christmas. I have my uncle's dad live in New York, and he has grandsons, and we were doing these novenas before Christmas time, and these kids don't even speak Spanish anymore and they don't know the novenas, so I'm pretty sure as soon as my uncle passes away, they're gonna miss it, and I would hate that, and I hate that they don't speak Spanish. I think that they should use that advantage of being bilingual, and they forget the roots, they forget where they're coming from. So that's why I'm saying that I would love to have my kids. I do plan to have a family and have it back in Colombia. I think that growing up and the childhood is a little bit more, I don't know how to explain it, but I think that growing up in Colombia as a kid is a little bit more enthusiastic maybe than here in America.
Yes, probably. Like the food, the quinceañera that I just mentioned before.
Definitely. I think speaking Spanish is my primary thing, and other things just come with it, or you won't really think about that you're passing it through. It's just going to be a habit, like food and music, dancing. If you continue doing those things, they're just going to, by default, they're going to pass down to your kids. I feel like language is something you actually have to push. I feel like the food, because they're not going to have a choice but to eat what is in there, and the music that's going to be playing when they have to clean the house. it could be Saturday morning, and that's your day to sleep in or relax, and then you hear music really loud, and then that's when you know that your mom's gonna clean the house and she's gonna make you help her.
When I have a family, I'll probably cook sometimes, but so they might pick that up, but not because I want them to grow up on homemade food, just because that's the way I do things. Again, I don't think anything is right and wrong. I don't think that's the way it should be, it shouldn't. I think each person is gonna have every person's gonna be different, and each person is gonna have a certain set of values or something that they're gonna want to follow. And I think that's what makes everything interesting.
Fall weather all year long. We are ranging between 55 and 75 all year long. Of course, we don't have seasons. A lot of mountains, we have waterfalls, we have a lot of water bodies, so we have lakes, a lot of farming.
I'm from Moroleón, Guanajuato. It's urban. All the streets are pretty much concrete. All the houses are stacked together, forming little blocks. Usually they just build up. Rooftop, you can look into outside of the city, you can see all the mountains. Everything is closed. You can get to a lot of places just by walking, or most people there have little mopeds to get from A to B.
I live in the coast of Ecuador, so it's really warm there. I'm really close to the beach, like 2 hours away. The regular temperature is around 90 degrees. We have a lot of buildings, malls. We also have many movie theaters. We don't have mountains. It's a busy city.
I live in São Paulo, so it's the largest city in Brazil. It's super nice. I think the cold day, it's when it's 50s, 45, 50 Fahrenheit. I mean, I don't know the exact because Celsius is actually way bigger than Chicago. Buildings all over the place, like tall skyscrapers. It's really unorganized. Like I have the impression that the streets, it's not like a nice layout, it's everything kind of all over the place. You take a wrong turn, you have to drive, 2 kilometers to be able to go the other way. It's just crazy. It's not a very well leveled city, so there's a lot of ups and downs. Traffic is bad on a good day. When it rains, it gets even worse. If there's a flooded area, it just stops everything. I would not ride my bike just because it's impossible, like too many ups and downs.
The main food when you talk to a Colombian, they're always gonna tell you about the bandeja paisa, which is like 1,500 plus calories. You have like 12 ingredients on it. You got fried egg, and then you got rice, and then you got chorizo, and then you got the steak. And
there's a lot of different foods like pozole, which is very common. Every time we have it, it's like, oh, pozole again. But it's like, oh, but then you're eating it, it's like, okay, it's really good. I can have it every other week.
You got avocado, potatoes, ground beef, and pork.
There's 100 types of tacos that we can have, and my personal favorite, I would say, is tortas.
Chicharrón, we call it chicharrón, which is like fried pork skin. So I love it.
I think I've been adjusted to how they're done here rather than how they were done when I was younger, and I would eat them in Mexico.
I love Brazilian food. I don't know if it's because I grew up on it, but feijoada, that's really good. Stroganoff, and again, amazing. Traditional Brazilian food, I would say, is like rice, beans, and steak. So that's pretty much what we eat every day. We also have a traditional Brazilian pop that it's called Guaraná, and if you look it up, what the fruit looks like an eye. So it's kind of weird, but it's good. If you look it up, it's like, it's red, and then it opens up, and then there's just a black dot with a white on the background, so it looks like someone's looking at you. Yeah.
This dish in Ecuador, which is called arroz con menestra, and it's like rice with beans, but like they cook the beans in a special way, and then I can have that with meat or with chicken.
Mexicans have a lot of sayings. Some people might not understand me for different countries. One that I use very often is aguas, which literally translates to waters, but it would mean like be careful. Like if you're like walking when you might slip, and like, oh, aguas, like be careful.
We have O Mundo dá Voltas, which is like basically saying the literal translation is the world spins, which would translate to, oh, what comes around goes around.
There's this word that I always use, which is chévere, which means cool, nice, and I like every time that something good happens to me or I see something cool, I just say, oh, that's chévere.
I say like, ¿qué pasa mi socio? Which is basically, what's up, bro? Dímelo, papi.
Ponte las pilas, which means like put your batteries on, which is like, which would mean get it together. Or there's too many to mention.
Also words that we have in Portuguese that we do not have in English, like saudade. I think it's actually a word that we just have in Portuguese, I want to say. Saudade is basically the feeling of missing someone. So if we say I miss you, in Portuguese we don't say I miss you. We say I have saudade.
We say the word marica a lot, which in a lot of countries is bad, but it's like our way of saying dude or way. We say, ¿cómo estás, marica? ¿Todo bien, marica? No, bien, marica.
To describe my hometown, 3 words I would pick would be close, food, and colorful. Close because Moroleón, Guanajuato is very known for all the clothes that they produce there. Almost every day you'll see stands that go for miles just with clothes selling at cheap prices, and a lot of people from close by towns and cities come by to get those clothes. Food, you would see food stands everywhere. I was there recently and all we did was eat. It's like, okay, let's go eat tacos, let's go eat tortas. There's just food everywhere. It's colorful. I like the houses. Each one has its own peculiar color. They like to paint it. Like I said, I was there recently and I saw houses that I haven't seen for over 10 years and they were still painted the same color. And some people just stick to what they know, but each one has its own unique way. And you know, it's like, oh yeah, that's my neighbor with the highlighter greenhouse.
Beautiful, warm, and fun.
And how to describe it? Armonía, tranquilidad y simplemente hogar, I think.
Okay, I would say hectic, big, and unorganized. Yes.
My parents have been supportive with me since the day that I was born, and they really just like let me do things that make me happy. And since I was little, I always wanted to come here to study my major, to go to college. So they were always there supporting me and motivating me, and they are really happy that I could get here, and I am here because of them too.
My dad has been here as far as I remember since I was little, and he would just send money back for us back in Mexico. And then when I was about 10 years old, we decided that we were gonna move to the United States so we can all be together and then just have better opportunities.
I was fortunate that my dad always supported me on whatever I wanted to do, so he just told me to be happy. At the end of the day, if I wanted to be a singer or if I wanted to be an engineer, no matter what, I just needed to be happy and be the best one at whatever I was doing, to strive for the best.
My parents, they've never been to Europe. You know, my dad was born in São Paulo. He lived his whole life in São Paulo. He took a couple trips like to other places in South America and here, but he's lived his whole life in São Paulo, and he might live his entire life in São Paulo, and nothing against that, but that's not what I want for my life, you know. Like, nothing against my dad. I love my dad. I look up to him so much, but sorry, Dad, that's one part of your life that I do not want on mine.
I came here to study electrical engineering, which is my major, and also to play tennis. And I don't know if I'm staying here because I'm studying my second year, but probably I like to do that because I really like it here.
When my mom first told us that we were gonna move to El Norte, as we called it, because, well, I knew my dad was there, so we were thinking, oh, we're just gonna go like graduate college or high school and come back and hopefully just have a job or something. I remember when we first moved here, we were always thinking of when we were gonna go back. And then until years passed, we didn't think of it as when are we gonna go back, when are we gonna go visit.
I've been playing soccer since I was like 5 years old. When I graduated from high school, I got into the best university back in Colombia. I wanted to be a civil engineer as well. However, it was really expensive. If I was going to get in the university back in Colombia, I needed to stop playing soccer. My senior year, I got offered to come to America to play soccer and at the same time go to school. I thought it wasn't a great idea, but I didn't know any English. So I studied hard, still didn't really learn much. And I ended up coming to Lima, Ohio. I didn't want to study what I was studying there. I really wanted to go back home the first 6 months, the first year. I transferred to PNW in 2015 to start my mechanical engineering bachelor's. And I definitely want to stay after I graduate from my bachelor's. I think that I need to start working and contribute to the American community, which has been really nice to me. And later on, pay to my parents, to my family that has been the main support here in America. But I don't plan to live all my life here. I don't imagine having my family here. I want to go back.
It wasn't like my dream since I was a kid, you know. I graduated from high school and then I could try to go to college in Brazil. But I wanted to live abroad. I wanted to experience something different, a new culture. I also wanted to play soccer too, because in Brazil, if you want to play soccer on a competitive level, you kind of have to choose between school or soccer when you're very young. I knew that if I came here, I could be able to be on the soccer team and practice. I don't know about staying, to be honest, because I think so. If I do get a good job, yeah. Like if I don't, I can't stay here. But I've been thinking of trying to go to Europe for a little bit, do a master's program too, you know, go immerse myself in another culture, you know, try to learn more about other people.
At first, it was different to adjust because I didn't speak any English. So I had a lot of friends that also didn't speak English or were in the process of learning it. So it was more of a process and learning different ways of how people interact with each other. After I was more accustomed to the ways, I think it's more of a mixture since there's a lot of people from different places, like not just from Mexico, but Central America and South America, as well as people within this region. Like if they move from a different state, they'll have their own traditions. As everything just kind of a mix. My brother, for example, like he was like against speaking English, like in the house. He's like, "Oh, we're Mexican, like you have to speak Spanish always." And I didn't see it that way. I feel like it's good because then you can see things from different perspective. Some people just want to learn it and forget their previous language. I've liked to keep both at as highest level as I can. But as far as a choice or a need, I think it was much needed to go where I want to be in life.
America was different, really different than what I expected, especially since I landed in Ohio. So I was watching American Pie and I thought America was gonna be just like American Pie. It didn't happen. And I just found a lot of super nice people, pretty organized. I think everything is well structured, different than back home that is a nice chaos, but still chaos. So that makes the life here in America way easier. I think you don't have to struggle that much. You can enjoy your own things. However, you do miss that chaos because it's a little bit more happier. Or people back home is a little bit warmer. Here in the US, it's just not the culture.
There's no a huge difference between this culture and my culture. Like when I came here, like it was not a big difference or a big shock for me. But I don't know, maybe the difference is that here people tend to be more independent. For example, many people like move from their parents' house like when they are still young and when they haven't even got married. For example, in Ecuador, people tend to move their parents home when they get married. They don't do it before that.
The patriotism, you know, you guys are so proud of being who you are. You guys are so self-centered that it kind of says, okay, like I am like this, that's how it should be. That it kind of goes into a domino effect to assuming other things, you know, this is the right way.
Growing up in Mexico, you're pretty much told like, okay, you have to grow up. School wasn't really pushed as hard as I feel like it is here. Like it is mandatory to be in school when you're little until a certain age. In Mexico, it really isn't. You're mostly pushed to, okay, you have to get a job, you have to find something to do, you have to work. That's pretty much the main goal, just work and support your family. Moving here, I feel like you have more choices. You can go as far as you set yourself the limit to go to.
We are pretty disorganized. We are creative, we are imaginative, but we cannot get anything together. We are trying to find a shortcut, and that is not right. That is not the right thing to do. Back home, you're always on the grinding and the struggle. Here in America, you kinda don't have to worry that much. I mean, you are well rewarded for what you work. Back home, you can work as hard as you can, and still you don't make it. Back here in America, the harder you work, the better rewarded you're gonna get.
I went to watch a basketball game. I think it was New York Giants and the Chicago Bulls. That was in New York though. And I thought it was interesting how in the beginning they was like, "This is my town," and like you guys like saying like you're not welcome here, kind of trying to intimidate. But at the same time, the players, they're not from the area a lot of the time.
I remember during my first months, I would meet a girl and I would just like try to kiss her cheek, and I got pushed away like 6 times. I got slapped. So
I think we're Brazilians, we're very like touchy. We're very like, oh hi, you know, like kissing the cheek with girls and all that stuff. I still think that's kind of weird. Like when I see a friend, I don't know if I should just wave, you know, like awkwardly from a distance, or like if I should hug because that's too close, you know. I don't know, it's just awkward. Or a handshake, I think is too formal. In Brazil, I used to eat for breakfast like ham and cheese sandwich and a glass of milk. American breakfast, I feel like that's so heavy. I feel like that's incredibly heavy. There's like sausage, bacon, eggs, potatoes, like pancakes. I was like, that's so heavy. Like I eat that and I want to go right back to bed because like how am I gonna start my day? You know, like I eat, I'm like, oof, I gotta go out. Call off. You know, like that's.
My grandpa has been working with horses for 70 years. He wakes up at 4 in the morning, go to bed at 9 p.m. And I think it's just that hard work that our culture really has. It's made me a better person here in America. That's why I didn't get happy with just getting the associate degrees back in Ohio. That's why I just didn't get happy just staying in Colombia. I always wanted to do a little bit more because of my parents, I think. However, sometimes because the life quality is a little bit better here, you don't need to fight that much here in America. You just get lazy and you just get used to this culture and you have an easy life and you stop working. And I think that is something that you really need to watch out for.
Bueno, la cultura en la que crecí fue la que me ha formado y me ha llevado a ser como soy ahora. Soy responsable, hardworking. Like, I know what I want and I know that I have to work hard for it, and I am working hard for it. So one of the things that my parents taught me was to never give up. So like there are some times which, I don't know, like things don't always go well, but when that happens, like I know that I have to keep trying and I will get it eventually if I really work hard for it.
I feel like a lot of people don't have choices, but having the choice, I've always been very independent and I've led the way of the path I want to go to. And as far as I can vision it and I know it's possible, then I'll go get it. I recently graduated. I was actually the first one in my family to get a bachelor's degree. For me, that's not enough. I'm always gonna want more. Growing up with not a lot, and then seeing what you can have makes you want more out of life. And I feel like the opportunities here are what make a difference than the way of living back in Mexico.
I eat rice, beans, and steak every day. You know, I even asked my dad, I remember one time, why do we eat rice and beans every day? And then my dad's answer was like, oh, because it's healthy. I mean, it has good nutritional value, which I guess, but that's not the real reason why. That it almost feels like our lives are being dictated. The way I see it is, when we're younger, our parents we're kind of told how life's gonna be and all that stuff. So again, the culture, and that's one thing that I realized when I came here. A lot of the things that I thought, that's how it is, that's the right way, they're not necessarily like that. And I guess that made me question other stuff that I thought that was right, other stuff that I thought that that's how it is, and it's really not. It's just how I see it. So me, being another culture, learning to know how the other ways that other people think, really fascinates me because it just breaks down even more those ideas that I have before. I feel like some people, they get so proud about their ancestry that they kind of take that as an identity, but no, I don't think that's how it goes.